Good evening, Mike. Good evening, everybody. Thank you guys for coming. Karen, would you shut the door? Or Reb, shut the door, please. Thank you. My name's Cliff Weiner. I'm president of POA. First on our agenda is the pledge to the flag. Remain standing for a moment of silence for our first responders and military personnel. Thank you. Please be seated. Next is Reber. You got minutes or no? Okay. He was out of town. He didn't get a chance to do it. I have to fire him. He says he's not that lucky. Okay, our treasurer's report, Jerry.
I guess I could do it from here. Oh, get in the camera. Over here. All right, my name is Jerry, and I'll read you the report. I'll be quick. For the month, we had revenue of $14,021, but our expenses were $24,047, so we had a loss of $10,025. But fortunately, we still have in our operating account $99,809 still available to be spent on all you folks. Any questions about it? I won't go into a lot of detail.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay, next, Victor, you're up. Come on up. Next, we're going to have a short 5-minute presentation from one of our advertisers who flew in from San Francisco. So I figured I could give him the opportunity to talk to us for 5 minutes. That's okay. Victor, you got 5 minutes.
I vote the other way. Don't tell Newsom that. Okay, great. So, Cliff, thank you for having us here. My name is Victor. This is my partner, Josh. We are owners of a company by the name of Flyer Club. Some of you may have seen us in the bulletin. Some of you may have already used their services, but I'd like to tell you a bit more about our company. Josh, if you don't mind holding this up so folks that are seeing us there can see it. So Flyer Club is a concierge, white glove travel agency like no other. We do not do hotels. We do not do cruises. We do not organize safaris. And you're like, how can you call yourself a travel company? Well, let me tell you. We specialize in discounted international airfares in premium economy, business, and first class. That is the only service we offer, and we're the best at it. We typically are able to save our clients 20 to 50% off. And if you folks have ever flown to Europe, Asia, the Emirates, you know those tickets are very, very expensive. So if you can knock off 20 to 50% off, we're happy to help. We're locally owned and operated. We're in good standing with the Better Business Bureau and hold a 4.8 rating on Trustpilot. We handle all aspects of the booking process, including providing boarding passes, seat and meal assignments, as well as transportation and wheelchair assistance as needed. We provide all of our clients 24/7 access to a hotline for travel emergencies, so you're never left stranded. You always have a partner by your side. Being an air travel partner of the Villages, we're actually going to reward the residents with a chance to win 2 free business class tickets to Paris. Yes, you heard me correct. I said 2 free business class tickets to Paris. Well, how do I win, Victor? Well, thank you for asking. Anyone who purchases a flight in 2025, starting today, we've already had some purchase, but unfortunately, they did not qualify. This starts today. Anyone who purchases a flight in 2025, starting today until the end of the year, will automatically enter the raffle, which will end December 31st, with the raffle taking place in the first week of January. You can submit your flight requests by scanning a QR code here. Also, a QR code that's in the bulletin every month. And if you folks after the meeting would like to come by, we have some cards that you can take home as well. Let me give you a couple examples of flights we did for folks at the villages in the last couple of weeks. Orlando to Rome, business class, 2,800. Tampa to Lisbon, business class, 2,758. Miami, Dubai, first class, 4,200. Now I know some of these numbers sound high and daunting, but if you've ever looked at a business class flight or a first class flight where you can have the fully flat seats, the gourmet service, the gourmet meals, and an amazing experience, then you know this is at quite of a discount. We're also actually looking for a few ambassadors to represent Flyer Club in the villages. This will be a paid position that comes with many perks. If you're interested, please reach out to me directly and I can walk you through all the details. Thank you for your time. We're here to serve your flying needs. And remember, Flyer Club is where we shop and you fly. Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is something I started doing a while back in introducing officials or supervisors or people that serve on other boards in the villages because they represent you. So we have here our secretary, Reb Benson, is a member of the AAC. Jerry Verlisi, our treasurer, is a member of District 5. Dan Warren, who's sitting next to him, is on NSCUD. Mark Hayes, who's here, is a District 4 supervisor. And I am a District 4 supervisor as well. At the back tables, we have Seniors versus Crime and Realty execs. So some of our partners. Our meetings are video recorded and live streamed and on Facebook, POA of the Villages. This meeting is being live streamed as we speak. And if you can't make it, you can always watch it. Tomorrow it will be posted on our website and then on YouTube. So our meetings are there from, I think, January of 2021 on YouTube. We have a lot of meetings on there. So you can always go back and see what we're doing. Next Tuesday, April 22nd, there's a multimodal path discussion group at Savannah Center at 2 p.m. I really need residents to come and voice their opinion about what they think needs to be done to make the multimodal paths safer, to make them so they're more visible at night when we drive as we get older. Our sight gets worse. Some of the paths. Yeah, please shut your cell phones off if you have one on. So I need your help. I am the chairman of that group. I revised it. It had been a committee in the villages for many years, and then about 7 or 8 years ago it went away. And I'm trying to revive it and get it back. I will tell you that two districts south of 466 are probably going to put RPMs, the reflectors, down. I won't name the districts yet, but I do know that two of them have said they're going to do it. So it's important. Something else that's really important that'll be in the bulletin that's coming out in 2 weeks. There's some important changes coming to the POA. Number 1 in our bulletin, and number 2 at our website, and some other things. So stay tuned. We will be giving you more information as we go along. How many people know what this is? April 22nd, Tuesday, 2 o'clock at Savannah Center. How many know what this is? How many have a Vial of Life? Okay. Really, really important. If you don't, we have some at the back. What this does is it's put on by the Sumter County Sheriff's Department. There's a second page here that you fill out with all the medical equipment, doctors, all the medicines you take. You fold it up and put it in that tube. You put this tube on one of the shelves in your refrigerator door. Inside is a sticker and a magnet. You put the sticker on the front door or on the screen door. You put the magnet on the refrigerator. When the EMTs come to your house, they will not say a word. They will go right to the refrigerator and take this. You're going to save precious, precious time if there's an emergency. I've had the opportunity to use it, so I know it really works. We have a whole bunch of them. I promise Sheriff Breeden, I'll do this until every house in the villages has one. We got a long way to go. And in Marion County, anybody here in Marion County live in Marion County? Marion County has something a little different. It's called the File of Life. And all it is it's a little folder that goes on your refrigerator with a magnet, and you fill out the paperwork and put it there. If you see me after the meeting, I will give you one or two or however many you need. This is all new. We had a little difficulty getting a bunch of them, so I have them. Just see me. Marion County residents need to be taken care of too, since that's where I live. How many have an e-notification? Guys, you got to sign up for e-notification. Hurricane season's coming. E-notification, go to districtgov.org, go to e-notification, pick the things you want to be notified of. There's hundreds of them. Pick and choose what's important to you. You want to know when the golf course is going to be closed? You can get that. It's really important, especially during hurricane season, when you get more notices you know what to do with. But it's important when we don't know what's going on. Okay, this is a part of the meeting that we call our open forum. So if you have a question that's not pertaining to our speaker, raise your hand. Someone with a mic will come. You need to talk into the mic so we can pick it up on the camera. So raise your hand. I will try to answer it. If I can't, we'll get you an answer.
Does the emergency radios that I bought like 10 years ago still work?
You're talking about the weather radios?
Yes.
Yes.
They do.
Yes. And if you need it reprogrammed, take it to the Public Safety Department and they will reprogram it for you.
Okay, I probably need to do that.
Okay. Anybody else? Wow. Okay. Okay, seeing nothing else, our speaker, well, before I get to our speaker. Next month in May, Dr. Craig Curtis, Alzheimer's research doctor, is going to be our speaker. He's going to be talking about some important new Alzheimer's research that's come out. In June, right here, we have Dr. John Young, who's going to be talking about nutrition. In July, we have Dr. Young again at Everglades, and he's going to be talking about another subject, and I don't know what it is, so I apologize. But in July here, Bradley Arnold, our Sumter County Administrator, is going to be here talking about the budget. And I have to tell you that in 2020, when they were going to raise the budget, the taxes 25%, the POA got really involved in that. And up until that point, we had no communication with Sumter County, Bradley Arnold, or anybody else. Since 2020, he has been a speaker every July. Since then, we have built a relationship with him, which is a good thing because that's the way we can work out issues that we might have. It works to our advantage. He does a really good job. So you might be very interested in that. And in September, we have Dr. Norman Anderson. And I'm not going to tell you what he's going to talk about, but you need to hear this. I had a meeting with him the other day. And in October, we're going to have Sheriff Pat Breeden, who's going to talk about two things. He's going to have his traffic lieutenant here, but he's also going to talk about people that have been incarcerated that aren't here legally and what's happening with them. It appears that there's an issue with ICE and getting them out of our jails and getting them somewhere else. I have heard this before from him, and it really opened my eyes, so you might want to hear that. So with that being said, our speaker tonight, our speaker is Lisa Hanka, and she was here in the beginning of the month when we were at Everglades. Excuse me, but I can't see. And this is part 2 of her presentation. First one was great, so I expect this one to even be better. Lisa?
We dim the lights a little bit. And where's my clicker? Where's my clicker? Okay. How's everybody? Tell me where I need to stand, sir. This good? Okay. How's everybody? Good? Yes? So I am Lisa Honka. Thank you for having me. It's a blessing to be able to talk with you and share my story and let you know what my company does for families here in the villages. I'm going to ask you some questions before we get started so I can get to know you. So how many people in this room are in their 60s? Raise your hand. Okay. Anybody here in the room in your 70s? Raise your hand. Okay. Anybody here in the room 80? Wow. Okay. Anybody here in their 90s? A couple. That must be a secret to longevity, as being a couple, huh? 90. Wow, fantastic. All right. Has anybody ever heard of my company, Your Key to Senior Living Options? Raise your hand. Yes? Have you seen my ad in the Village's Sun that's been running for 8 years in the very first section in Sunday's paper? No. Okay. Anybody here ever used our services? Raise your hand. So a couple people. A couple people are in the middle of using our services. So I started a company 8 years ago because I saw a need, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my company. I'm going to recap a little bit about the presentation that I did 2 weeks ago, and then we're going to go forward because this is complicated. Do you think aging's complicated? Yes. Is it getting harder and harder to figure out what resources are out there? Yes. Okay. Do we have a guide to kind of navigate us, a council on aging, a hub of information? No, it's fragmented, isn't it? And that's why I started my company. So I am the owner of Your Key to Senior Living Options. I live here in the Villages. I actually live in the village of Collier. And I started my company because I saw that the information here is a bit fragmented. And I started off working for a home care agency almost 20 years ago, right at home in the Merrimack Valley of Massachusetts. I was a director of sales and marketing for an assisted living and memory care there. Came down to the Villages when I was 47 years old and bought a house. So I was that young population that bought as an idea that maybe someday I would retire here. But I loved it so much I came down actually 2 years later to live. And since then, again, have grown my company from an idea to something kind of big. I then worked at Freedom Point as the director of sales and marketing when Brookdale Place was being built. And then I worked at Atria in front of the Villages Rehab and realized that people here, 8 years ago, there was a lot of communities being built. The Harbor Chases were being built. The Elans were being built. Buffalo Crossings had just finished their assisted living. Sumter Senior Living had just added on their wing. And I realized people were using an internet search to make one of the biggest decisions, the most costly decisions of their lives, their parents' lives. And these people had never been here. Place for Mom, caring.com is an internet search. Their company isn't here. The people don't walk them through the buildings. They don't qualify them for what they can afford. They don't talk about aid and attendance benefits, long-term care insurance, and people are making decisions based on a list of places that they've never been, that this company has never been to. They've never walked the buildings. They don't know the teams. They don't know who's in place. And so I started my company with the idea I could help more people on the outside. And this little idea I had, the first year we helped 300 families. The next year 400 families called me, then 500, and now about 1,000 families a year call us and ask for help. So this little idea now has become a company, and we help a lot of families. I have 400 referral sources, including the Villages Hospital, the sheriff, the veterans clinic that you have here in Mulberry, wealth managers, attorneys, because people know that I'm very safe with families. I qualify what they can do, what the kind of care they need, and help simplify the process and walk them through that. my number one referral source is actually the communities themselves, because if somebody calls and they're not a match financially or medically, they can't manage their care, they actually give my name to the families. And that's a big blessing, because not only do I help families find those communities, but I also get referrals from them. So I'm going to tell you a little bit again about what we do. So thanks for being here. I'm asking that you don't take pictures of my slides because I want to make sure that, again, this information is private, but I know we're being taped, so it's not going to be so private for very long. So, again, an introduction to my company, Your Key to Senior Living Options. As I said, I'm the owner of the company. I actually trademarked my company a few years ago because I wanted to make sure that all my materials stayed with me and that nobody could take my logo and my information. Josephine has been with me. I don't know if anybody has worked with Josephine, but she runs a support group here in the Villages for care partners. She's been with me for 4 years. Maureen works actually remotely from Maine, and she's been with me 7 years of my company. She designs my PowerPoints, my marketing materials. Marissa has been with me almost from the very beginning, and now she's working with families. And when people call up to sign up for my presentations, they talk to Lori. So again, not everything that is out there, all the correct information is going to be found on Google, right? Google is a search. You're searching for information on your phone, and suddenly you get some AI being sent to you about senior living, or you have some questions. And again, these bots and AI have never been here. They don't know about what senior living is and how to pay for it and how to help navigate for families. So again, we know that emergencies can happen in any moment. I am the child of 2 parents who both got sick, and 2 weeks later they died. And so that is part of why I tell my story, because my parents never used their long-term care insurance. One of my parents, my mother, was 71. She had a brain aneurysm and died 2 weeks later. My father called everyone but 911, and eventually she died on a ventilator a couple weeks later. And my father died 2 years ago of COVID. He got COVID at his granddaughter's high school graduation, and he died 2 weeks later. So I am telling you this story because I am the child who had parents who didn't stay organized. My mother was very organized as a nurse, but the 9 years that my father was alone, he kind of unwound some of the things. And I talk a lot with my families when I do presentations: plan before the crisis. Get your ducks in a row, get organized, beginning to plan with a purpose. Make sure that all your information is updated so that if something happens to you tonight, your children can navigate for you, they can take over if they have to for a short period of time. They know all about you. Anybody here in this room a care partner to someone? Raise your hand. Anybody caring for someone right now? Okay, and again, it's really important, as they say when you're flying, to make sure that you put your oxygen on first, right? Make sure that you're got everything organized, because if something happens to the care partner, what happens to the person who is leaning on them, right? The whole ship begins to sink. So again, we know that crises can happen at any moment, and we're going to be talking a little bit about getting your ducks in a row. We know that when people call us, it's confusing. They're trying to figure out, what do we do? Our parents in the hospital, they've had a hip fracture, they're in a rehab, we've got to make a decision. Are we taking them up north? We've got a spouse who wants to come home, but maybe we can't care for them, and we're helping them figure out what is the next step. How are we going to help them through that process? So senior living advisors help people get a plan, develop a plan, work a plan, know their options. Our services are completely free to families. Never do we take money from families, don't take gifts from families. We are paid by a senior living community. If somebody down the road ever moves into a senior living community, they would pay us a referral fee. But we never, ever charge families for our services, our consults, our planning. Our goal is always to meet you where you are and help you develop a plan. So who do we help? We actually help you develop a plan. We end up helping the care partner as they're in the middle of caring for somebody, but we also help the adult children. Right now I'm working with 3 adult children who are remote. They're in a different location. One has flown down, who's a doctor, who's trying to get dad out of the 5th floor rehab at the hospital to a respite so that eventually we can move that person near the doctor-daughter in Pennsylvania. That was my job today, is to find the other senior living advisor up there who knows the properties, can get dad on a wait list, get dad tours today so that he can look at respite, stay here, make sure that he's safe, and then eventually make that move, because he's 91 years old, up near their children. So again, we work with all different people at all different stages. We help people plan for the future. Many of my families that I worked with 6 and 7 years ago are now calling saying, the day has come when I can't do it anymore, when I have a new diagnosis and I need some help. Sometimes people are doing this together, as you 90-year-olds are doing this together, and sometimes caring for the house is just too much. So sometimes they're beginning to make that switch and trying to figure out, do we stay here? Do we stay here with home care? Do we stay here with home health? Do we move closer to our adult children? Do we make a wing and put our children here with us? What does that look like? So we help people get a plan, but we also help a lot of our families in crisis, right? We've got to move within the next 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 months, because something has happened that's incredibly stressful, and they've got to make a change because of some new health diagnosis. Again, our services are free to families. We walk through the whole journey with you, whether it's, again, working on a plan for the years down the road, figuring out financially what you can afford, helping you get home care, home health in your house. But sometimes it's, again, looking at your long-term care insurance to see what the value is, because you're thinking about changing that benefit and you're not sure, does it make sense to go down in that benefit, or do we continue on? If you're a veteran, maybe we're looking at your aid and attendance benefits to see if you could actually get that benefit. What are you telling me? I'm shadow in the, okay, thank you for telling me. All right, so again, our expertise is free to families. So one of the things that I encourage everybody to do is to keep organized, right? Create an emergency binder. Anybody here have an emergency binder? Yes, good. Okay, knockbox, you can get something like that. Planning with a purpose. I'm dead now, what, right? Have a binder so that all your information is in one place. How many people in this room, their children know your doctors? Raise your hand. Anybody? Okay, 4. Okay, of the, what do we have, 100 in the room? Anybody here know, your children know your medications? Raise your hand. Anybody? What about your attorney? Do they know the name of your attorney? What about your wealth manager? Yes? Okay, do they know where your DD 214 is if you've got to find it, or your long-term care insurance? It's important to make sure that the people who might have to walk in your shoes tomorrow know where all this information is so that they can help you. I know your generation is very private, yes? 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 Very private, right? My dad was very private. My mother was very private. Well, she was less private, but, and now we tell our kids everything, right? So again, it's important that you speak with them, keep them informed, let them know what they need to do, what your wishes are, where things are, right? Because someday they may have to navigate like we did in an emergency. So it's important, again, to have your medical information in one place, because again, if you're going after the aid and attendance benefits or the long-term care benefits, or if, again, they have to come down and navigate for you, do they know your doctors, your medications, your diagnosis? Do they know, again, who your attorney is and how to talk to them? Do they know where your power of attorney is or health surrogate, so paperwork, so they can talk to the hospital and look on the portal? Do they know about your financial information? Which account should they use in order to pay for the dog food? Or do they know which account they should use for cash for care because you want to come home and you want to have caregivers in the house? So it's important to have that. It's important to have your circle of support around you. When you're creating this emergency binder, put all of this information in one place so that if they have to go look for your binder or your husband's binder, your wife's binder, they can find it, right? That it's updated. Again, how do we help people? We help people develop an individual plan. Try standing behind the podium. Okay, you like that better? Okay. All right, I'm trying not to get the, okay. Is this better? It is better, okay. So now I can't see my cheat sheet. Marissa's going to have to move that over here. Okay, thank you. We're trying to do multitasking. Nope, it's got to become closer. So even with glasses, I'm going to need a little help. Okay, so thanks, Marissa. Nice to have your daughter here to save the day. Thank you, Marissa. All right, so again, how do we help people? We help them develop a plan. We help them find resources. We figure out the costs, right? Instead of you driving around and finding out that 6 of the communities that you thought were great turn out that they're independent living and you need assisted living, or the ones that you loved and thought about are full, right? So we do a lot of workups up front to make sure that when you're having tours, they're with communities that have openings, that they're ready to go, that they know that what care you're going to need. We help you figure out what options are out there. We help guide you and support you through that. We also help you if you're thinking about activating your long-term care insurance. What does that mean? How do you do that? How do you do that from step 1 to step 2? Anybody here in the room have long-term care insurance? Raise your hand. Again, it's very valuable. It's a lot of money. Sometimes it's unlimited amount of money once you start to use it. So again, if you have a medical event, how do you use that at home to keep you safe for a period of time? Or if you're a care partner, how do you use that if something happens to you and suddenly you need a respite stay for your partner? So again, we help people, guide them through the long-term care insurance. We also help people with the aid and attendance benefits. Anybody here in the room a veteran? Raise your hands. Anybody here the spouse of a veteran? Raise your hands. So again, there is a federal pension called aid and attendance, and we want to make sure that you're filing that correctly at the right time with the right people. You never pay for that benefit to be filed. So we want to make sure that, again, you're working with a VSO agent who has done tens of thousands of applications. And again, if you need a support group because you're a care partner, we're helping people to get to those. So let's talk about independent living, assisted living, memory care, and also long-term care skilled. I'm going to throw a lot of terms at you. I speak fast, right? Yes? I'm from the Midwest, so I'm throwing a lot out at you, and this is a lot of education fast, but again, it's going to be on YouTube, so you'll be able to pick it up. But what is independent living? So independent living is a hotel license. They are there to provide 3 meals a day, transportation, activities, but they are not there to provide care. Assisted living is levels of care as needed. So you have an apartment, a studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, shared option, and it is care a la carte. So sometimes people come out of rehabs, they need care, and then sometimes they get better and they don't need care. But sometimes as people age, they need more care. So in an assisted living, you can get levels of care as needed, medication management, help with activities of daily living, bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring. In that building, they're going to have physical therapy, occupational therapy, wound therapy, speech therapy. They'll have visiting doctors, but they also provide, again, 3 meals a day activities. So that's assisted living. And memory care is very similar to assisted living, but it is a secure and protected environment. So someone who cannot live in an assisted living because they're either an elopement risk or the world is too big, and they have cognitive impairment, they would be living in a memory care, secure and protected environment. Respite is a short-term stay for somebody who needs just a little bit of care for a little while. Could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months, but a respite is not a permanent stay in a assisted living or memory care. It's usually a transitional stay for the care partner to have a break, to have surgery, to go visit family. That would be a respite, and that could be an assisted living or memory care. And what is long-term care skilled? So in the state of Florida, we have rehabs, right? You've heard of skilled nursing facilities, Buffalo Crossing, Chatham Glen, The Club, the Villages Rehab, Lady Lake Specialty Care. Those are paid for your stay because you've had a hospital stay, a 3-day overnight hospital stay followed by a rehab stay paid for by Medicare. But some people need a long-term care skilled location because they cannot stand, bear weight, and pivot. They are beyond the scope of what a assisted living or memory care can do. And that is very rare here in Florida because we have 3 different level licenses in Florida: a standard license, a limited nursing services license, and extended congregate care license. So very few people here in Florida ever go to a long-term care skilled location, either by private pay or on Medicaid if they need it, because usually people are able to stay in assisted living or memory care by bringing in hospice to expand their license at the end of someone's life in one of those buildings. So again, why do people move? Sometimes people move to independent living, assisted living, memory care for the quality of life, right? When sometimes living at home and cooking isn't possible. Sometimes when they have lots of comorbidities and things are getting a little bit out of control and they need someone to help manage medications or help them with a doctor visit or help them with some underlying conditions. Sometimes it's personal safety, right? Falling in the house. Sometimes when they shouldn't be driving because of low vision, macular degeneration, perhaps maybe even if they have neuropathy in their feet, right? And they can't really be driving, or their ability to walk to and from their car is impaired, and maybe that's when they're moving because they need someone to help them get to appointments. Again, medication management. When there's errors in medication and they're overdosing or underdosing their medications, sometimes that's when people move. Sometimes nutrition. When I ask people, so what did you do today? Did you have a fun day? What have you done for fun in the last couple weeks? What do you like to do for fun? And the answer is, I don't have fun anymore. Sometimes that's the reason that people move, because sometimes it's like living on a cruise ship, right? Again, going to all those appointments and having to drive and keep up with the house and the landscape guy and the bug spray guy. Sometimes it makes sense to simplify your life, and that's why people move. Also, again, transportation, as I mentioned, when the expense of the car or driving, because we know, again, traffic is crazy here in the villages with the big trucks and the young drivers and the people that shouldn't be driving that are hitting the guardrails. Sometimes it's time to stop driving and simplify your life. And then sometimes finances. When I work with families, sometimes they are asset rich, but cash poor, right? They have the asset of their house, $300,000, $200,000, $150,000, $500,000, but they do not have cash for care. And if they need cash, that's sometimes why people move, is because they need cash for their care partner. Sometimes they do not have finances that would allow them to pay for care if there was a catastrophic event. And sometimes friendships. When I ask people, how long have you lived in the villages? 20 years, 30 years. I said, do you know your neighbors? And they said, no, everybody we liked moved away or they've died, right? So sometimes they're moving to senior living communities because now they have new friendships. Again, sometimes people are moving because they are care partners. We know that 65% of care partners will pass away first, right? The caregiver is doing a huge job, and sometimes they sacrifice their own health. They become collateral damage for the disease of Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, right? So again, we want to make sure that the care partners have a plan, and so that's sometimes why people end up having their loved one move to memory care or assisted living, because they can no longer lift them, change them, take care of them. The care becomes too much when you're 90 years old and you're trying to take care of a whole nother person. Again, we have support groups. As I mentioned, Josephine runs 2 support groups here in the villages that are completely free, helping people get plans. So when people come to me and they say, how am I ever going to afford independent living, assisted living, memory care? One of the things we do is a deep discovery to find out what their goals are, to figure out medical underlying conditions, and then also assets. So when we think about where will funds come from someday, if you ever needed to make that transition, and we look at Social Security, pensions, savings, sale of a house, what's the house value, long-term care insurance, if you have that, is that for 3 years, 5 years, is it unlimited? So again, looking at all of those things, when can we use it? Who's going to use it first? Who's likely to need it first? Should we use that one? Should we use them both? How do we afford this? so that we can move forward if they need, again, a transition to senior living. We also look at aid and attendance benefits. How many people know about aid and attendance benefits? Anybody do? Okay. So again, quick recap of aid and attendance. It's a federal pension for somebody who served during a period of war, who was honorably discharged, and now needs help with 2 ADLs, right? Standby assistance for showering, dressing, toileting, transferring, feeding, and they have a financial need for money. So again, sometimes they file a form called intent to file 1 year prior to knowing that they're going to actually file for the aid and attendance benefits, and we help people walk through that. So again, if you want more information on that, you can call us up. We're happy to talk to you about it. We're happy to help you understand what that is. I think Marissa has some cards on aid and attendance benefits, and we can certainly send you some information so you're aware of that benefit. But it's something to keep in your back pocket, that if down the road you might need that or want that, how do you offset the cost of senior living? And also, again, the Medicaid waiver. Anybody heard about this? So Medicaid waiver is for somebody who medically and financially qualify. Right now, we have Elder Options in Gainesville, which is the head of Medicaid. There's 20,000 people waiting to get on Medicaid. So again, it's a very low bar to get to if you need money for care. The threshold of Medicaid in the state of Florida is that you must not have more than $2,000 in total assets, that you must not make more than $2,000 per month in income, Social Security, pension, aid and attendance benefits, and that you need help with ADLs, right? So finding a community that someone could move to that actually qualifies for that, the Medicaid waiver will pay for your care in a assisted living that accepts that benefit. But we do not have many of those places. So Medicaid would pay about $1,000 of your care. All the care would be inclusive under that waiver program, but you will still pay rent to live there in a assisted living or memory care, and that would be about $2,000. So again, it's a very, very low bar for someone to get to. And again, we help people understand what that is. So for those people who have long-term care benefits, I'm just going to give you a brief overview. Long-term care is something you would have bought in your 50s. You bought it probably from an employer. Your financial advisor might have suggested that you buy it. It's a way to kind of hedge your bets on if someday down the road you might need catastrophic care or care. You might have had extra money to spend on this years ago, and then you continue to pay for it every single year. It is supposed to meet you where you're at. So again, if you need care in your home, you can turn on that benefit if you have bought that part of the policy, right? Some people bought just straight assisted living. Some people bought just straight long-term care in a nursing home. But some people bought long-term care insurance that has a provision in it that you could actually get home care. And it's important to know what your current benefit is. So I always encourage families to call the long-term care policy company tomorrow and ask them to send you an updated benefit summary and a description of benefits so that you know what that is, right? What does that dollar amount equate to per day, per month? So if you need it or your spouse needs it, your partner needs it, you know how much care you can get in the house when you figure out what the day rate or the hourly rate is for home care in the house, but also what does it cover in assisted living, right? How many dollars per day? How long do those days last? So again, long-term care insurance is complicated, but we help people walk them through all the possibilities and when maybe they have burned through the elimination days. So again, it's important for you to get an updated benefit summary and a description of benefits so that you truly understand what that large sum of money is that you paid for and when to use it. Do not leave it on the table. Use it if you need it. If you're a care partner or if you have any underlying conditions and you could use some care in the house, make sure that you use it. Again, aid and attendance is a benefit for a wartime veteran and or their surviving spouse. So again, if you are the veteran and you have a spouse and you need money for care and assisted living, you could get that aid and attendance benefits as long as the veteran themselves needed care. If the veteran has passed away, it can be a widow's benefit for somebody who is living in an assisted living and needs financial assistance and needs help with care. So again, aid and attendance is a federal pension. The look back time, again, is 5 years, so do not gift money away to a child because they will find it. So do not gift away money in order to qualify for that benefit. There is an income threshold for veterans and for widows. So be very, very careful. Do not get mixed up with having somebody that you would pay to file that application. The VSO officers at Pinellas Library and also at Mulberry Clinic and sometimes over at your American Legion will do it for free, and they've done tens of thousands of applications, and they will not send an application in until it's fully developed. So again, yes, sir. No. Income threshold for the veteran is 155,000, 158,000. For the widow is about 75,000. Okay, I do a presentation on that, and if you want my newsletter, I can let you know when those are, but it's all in my PowerPoint for that. So again, aid and attendance benefits, if you're ever thinking about getting it, it's good your children know about it, so again, down the road if you ever need it. So we do lots of presentations, plan before the crisis, get your ducks in a row. What's your 2 a.m. plan? Understanding senior living, understanding when is it time for memory care for somebody that you might love, the ins and outs of your long-term care insurance, understanding aid and attendance benefits, and planning with a purpose. So we do have a free toolkit. Again, if you're interested in this, you can, and you have the downloadable QR code scan on your phone. You can scan this, it's free, and you can scan that, and that lists out, again, your contacts, your family members, your medications, your diagnosis. You can also go to my website, it's free, and you can click on it and download that PDF, print it, put it in your emergency binder. Upcoming events that I have, and that's going to be this week at Harbor Chase, I'm doing understanding your long-term care insurance. So if those people have that benefit, want to know about it, want me to review it, I'm happy to do that. You can just let us know. Again, we help simplify the process. I hope families who have worked with me think that I've simplified the process. Is that true? Is it? I hope so, because that's the goal. This is complicated. Aging's complicated. The information's fragmented. The hospital calls us with questions. The VA calls us with questions. It's complicated. Trying to get all this information in one place, up here, on here, up there, right, and out to you, because it's important that you're okay, right, and that you got a plan, and that you're working the plan, and that you know your options. Education is king, right? So again, thank you for having me. Again, thanks for having me. Was this
Well,
helpful?
It was. Questions?
Anybody learn anything?
Anybody got
Yes?
a question
All right.
for Lisa? She really
So did
does-
anybody learn anything? Yes?
Okay, if you have a question, raise your hand.
Okay.
Okay. Dan,
What's that?
Joan.
Lisa Honka. Was it on the very first presentation? It was. It did. Well, I have cards up here with my name. Okay. All right. Any questions? No questions. You're all brilliant. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
No children.
Yes. Call me.
People formerly designated to be
Yes.
POA, et cetera,
Yes.
are dying off.
Yes, I have this every day. Should I stand back here, I guess, still? I have this every day. I think, Marissa, we met 2 people yesterday. A woman veteran who served in the Army who never had children, and her 2 sisters have cognitive impairment, right? Who is she going to pick? So I said, call me. Let's work on a plan. So I put her in touch with an attorney who could be her fiduciary, who could write bills if she became cognitively impaired. I have her in touch with an attorney. And again, not all attorneys do this, so I want to make sure we're using the right attorney who's got the time, the energy. So again, an attorney who could pay the bills, who could distribute the estate, who could be the power of attorney, the executor, But then we need somebody who could do the medical. That's not me. I can't manage people's portals on the hospital and sit down in case management meetings. I'm willing to sit once in a while, but I can't sit for families. So I've gotten them in touch with a doctor and a nurse that have a home care agency, that the doctor is a hospitalist. So again, if something happens, they've got the whole bucket, right? Your circle of support, because there are so many people who say, I don't know who to put on this piece of paper with my legal team, and so I don't do it, right? And then what happens? You end up going to the hospital, and I had a woman once, she was estranged from her son. He didn't want to have anything to do with her. She was in the hospital on a ventilator, and they said, we don't know what to do with Jane Doe, right? Nobody wants to talk about Jane Doe. Well, Jane Doe needed to go to hospice, but nobody could sign the paperwork for Jane Doe. She died not being able to get hospice services because nobody stepped forward. And I said to the hospital, the Villages Hospital, don't you have a legal team? And they said, we don't want to get into this. Okay, so now she's got really nobody, right? So again, it's important to have a plan. It's crazy stories, huh? I could write a book.
Would you be able to provide us with the name of that attorney that can assist with the powers
Call
of
me. I'll come and meet you because I want to make sure you know what I'm talking about. So yes.
I'm a retired estate planning attorney
Yes.
from Maryland.
Great.
I
Okay.
did elder law too, but we're down here only for 3 years, so I really am trying to
Yep.
acquaint myself.
So I'm
with-
going to give you the best of the best for what you're looking for, right? Sometimes people need just quick things done, but sometimes people's estates are really complicated, right? Sometimes they have multiple family members. People want to be involved, don't want to be involved, right? So we talk through that. So leave your name with Marissa, and I'll make an appointment. We'll chat. Again, and my services are free, and I'll come right to you. What's your name? Okay, Valerie, I'll remember you. Okay, and I'll come and we'll just chat. Okay? And we'll just, again, I'll give you my suggestion. You go meet them. You like them, great. If you don't like them, you tell me and I'll suggest somebody else. But again, I really try to vet all the people that I work with and that I refer to so that people have good experiences, right? I want to make sure that you're well taken care of. You become my family when I help you.
I am a caregiver for my wife who is presently confined to a wheelchair. She could not stay on in the house if some morning she wakes up and I don't. Who does she call to get some immediate help, not in 2 or 3 days, but same day help, or a place that she could immediately move into on a temporary basis?
Yeah, so that's a great question. What's your name?
Scott Fenstermaker.
Because Scott, I need to meet with you. Josephine needs to meet with you because tonight will be the night or tomorrow will be the night. Something happens, right? You have a gallbladder attack. You have a stroke. You have a car accident, right? And I always encourage care partners to start with at least 1 day of care in your house a month. Know the care people. 1 day, 1 hour, right? Because then you've got a home care agency that knows your wife, knows where the medications are, knows her likes and dislikes, what she eats, what she doesn't. You know somebody, right? And we work through finding the very best person, even 1 day a week, 1 day a month, so that you can call that home care agency. We've got coverage for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, right? Until the children can come down from wherever they are, if there are children, right? They jump on a plane, they come down, and then they're worried about you. You're on a ventilator, you're having surgery, you're in Ocala and West Marion Hospital. They're worried about you, and they're saying, okay, I got to work remotely. Mom's in good hands, but guess what? Dad's going to the rehab for 90 days. We can't leave Mom here, right? So a lot of what we do is planning before the crisis. Let's go look at a couple places so that if the event is big, and you never come home, or something happens and it's going to be extended. It's not overnight, it's not a week, it's not a month, but it's months. We've got to know which places you liked, which ones you picked out, because sometimes if that event happens, there may not be room in place A that you liked, but maybe we have to go to our B choice, right, for respite. So it's important to think strategically. If you weren't in the picture, If you weren't here for 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or forever, what's the plan? You got to get organized. You got to have a plan. Again, we're doing research. Nobody has to do anything. You just got to have step 1, step 2, step 3. Do research when you're not in crisis. Does that help?
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yes, no, crazy, don't do it? Again, research. Research is king. Nobody has to do anything. They just have to have plans, right? Just like my parents, right? It happened so fast, it was over in a blink, right? And so some of it was right, some of it was wrong. Get organized, especially if you're a care partner, right? You want to make sure they're safe.
My name's Rich Tizavek,
Hi, Rich.
and I'd like to know how you get paid.
I mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'm paid by a senior living community if somebody moves in. But not everybody moves in. Sometimes they die. Sometimes they stay home all the days of their life. Sometimes they end up going on hospice and passing away. Sometimes they move north to their adult children and didn't tell me, right? So again, all my services, all my consulting, meeting with you is totally free. We never charge families. Does that make sense?
So do you just work with one community then? That's how you
No,
get paid?
I have referral contracts with 99% of them. I can go anywhere in the country. As I mentioned, I work with senior living advisors across the country. So I have people moving to Maryland, Rhode Island, Long Island, Wisconsin, Texas. I'm not in Texas. I can't tell you. I have national contracts with all senior living communities. So Harbor Chases. I have contracts with Brookdales. But I can't tell you what the Brookdale
Okay.
in Wisconsin looks like. But I want to make sure that you're taken care of, that
All
you're
right, so
working
you,
with somebody.
you have all these contracts out there, and so whatever happens, that's how you get your income stream. Sort of.
Again, I'm paid by a senior living community if somebody ever moves in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but again, a lot of people stay with home care. Some people pass away. Some people move out of state. Again, I'm not biased to any one community, except the only thing I want is that you get good care, right? Because if you're not getting good care, if you're not getting what you need, I'm not going to be there because you have to be taken care of. I don't want to hear that you're not happy or that things are going sideways. I want to make sure that you're taken care of.
I have a question in regards to long-term care. I have long-term care that my husband got for my mother-in-law, for his mother, for himself, and for me. And we did use it for both of them, but I don't understand diddly squat about it.
Good, so call me, that's what I do. So I have a big long sheet, and my sheet goes through everything, right? We're gonna get on the phone. So the first thing I want you to do, what's your name?
Pinky,
Pinky. So Pinky,
short
tomorrow.
for Josephine.
Yep, so tomorrow I want you to call your long-term care company, John Hancock, CNA, Bankers Life, whatever it is. You're gonna call tomorrow and you're gonna say, here's my policy number, and I want you to send me an updated benefits summary and a description of benefits, right? It's gonna
Okay.
take 10 days, 2 weeks. We got a holiday in here. And then when you get that, you're gonna call me and you're gonna say, Lisa, I have my long-term care policy. I still don't know what it means, but I want you to come over and explain it to me. We're gonna get on the phone and we're gonna ask them questions. Does it cover durable medical equipment? Does it cover a life alert? Does it cover a respite stay? What is the day rate for that? What does it cover for assisted living? What are the ADLs that you need in order to qualify? 2 or 3? Does it cover homemaker services? Can somebody come in and help you make a meal? Can they take you on transportation? Does it cover an ambulance ride? We want to know what it covers, what you have bought, what the day rate is for assisted living, home care, long-term care, all of these things. We've got to know what it is because sometimes, and again, people don't know this, for those people who have long-term care insurance, raise your hand. You got to listen. So for those people that have long-term care insurance, sometimes if you have had a rehab stay or PT/OT in your house, outpatient therapy in your house, sometimes you already have burned through your elimination days and you don't even know it, right? So I've met with families who say, well, I'm getting physical therapy. I have Parkinson's. I've been getting swallow therapy because I've had some issues. I went to an outpatient therapy right after a hospital stay. And sometimes those days can be uploaded into the portal for the long-term care. They review it and they go, you know what? You had 20 days of elimination. You had 50 days. You had 100 days. You had 90 days. And you've already done half of them because you went to a rehab stay. And when you were in the rehab, they actually provided you with ADLs. They helped you with a shower. They helped you get dressed. Yes, you were getting skilled care and it was paid for by Medicare, but you may have already burned through your elimination days. Did you know that? Did you learn something new? I know, and that's why I keep asking the questions, because I want you to be smart. I want you to know that maybe you don't have to have all these days. Maybe you've already done it. Maybe tomorrow, all the care that you get in your house can be reimbursed. Wouldn't that be great?
Do people who have, who are military, like my husband did 35 years in the military, so.
TRICARE for life?
Yes. So I'm covered pretty good, huh?
Well, that's your insurance, yes.
Okay, all right.
So again, we would probably not go after the widow's benefit for long-term care insurance, because your monthly asset of your long-term care when you're using it could be higher than even what it costs to live in assisted living, right? And so again, understanding what that is, you may be in a very good position to have care in the house for the rest of your life and never go to assisted living, right?
That's what I'm shooting for.
Yep, and some people, that's what I say to them. Your net worth is $2 million. Why would you ever go to assisted living? You're not going to need it, right? We're going to have care in here the moment you need it for every day you've got. Burn it up. You want to be here looking at the woods? You want to look at the golf course? Stay home. We can get 24-hour care in here, hospice in here. This is where you're going to be. Spend the inheritance or the interest, because you've, again, high net worth, right? If you have high net worth, sometimes you're only using the interest on your money alone, right? Because you've been so very careful.
I have MetLife long-term care, and I found out with my wife situation was the first 30 days was out of pocket.
Yes, that's called your elimination period, like your deductible. But
Okay.
sometimes if you've had a rehab stay, she's had therapy, outpatient, inpatient, sometimes you've already burned through those elimination
Okay.
days, right? So this is complicated, isn't it? Yes. And that's why I tell my story. That's why I keep saying, share my card with somebody, because your neighbor might be upside down and think, I don't even think I could afford assisted living. But maybe they could get aid and attendance. Maybe they have long-term care insurance and they're 92 years old and haven't used a day of it. Is the likelihood that you're going to need it or use it? Are you going to use it all up if you have $300,000 and you're 92 years old? No way, right? So again, looking at comorbidities, looking at life expectancy tables, looking at what your assets are. We always want you to be safe. If the goal is to stay home and you have long-term care insurance, if you have net worth to keep you home, okay, let's do it, right? Until it doesn't make sense anymore. Does that make sense? Yes.
Any other questions?
Was that helpful?
Yes.
Yes. Should I come back one day?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. We will have you back again.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you for coming. We got donuts and coffee in the back.
We
And
gotta go talk
we'll
to
see
that
you next
client.
month, I hope.